Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all the storytelling, world building, and characters of video games because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep. And this is episode 158.
This is apparently the episode where while I'm emphasizing the words on the mic, I'm bobbing my head like a chicken. I must be losing my friggin' mind. I have no idea why I feel the need to do this.
Probably because you had an epic 15-minute rant about work.
Guys, yeah, we're private people, so you're not going to hear anything about it. But man, were people irritating me at work today. And that's all I'm going to say about that because Mystic got to hear it already. But if you want to support us not talking about that stuff.
Well, first, if you want to contact us about things that irritate you at work or about games.
Preferably about games.
Yeah. You can do that many different ways. Instagram, Blue Sky, Reddit, YouTube, Steam, and Discord down in the description down below. Or you can contact us via email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you would like to support the podcast, and we hope you do, there's two ways you can do that. The first is thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever it is, wherever you're listening. We appreciate it. The other way is through Patreon at patreon.com/loretogether, where you can pay a per episode pledge, that's per podcast episode, to get early access to those same podcast episodes. You also get exclusive access to some Let's Plays. You get voting rights in our live Let's Plays, which currently include The Forgotten City and will soon start Mass Effect 3. And patrons at the $2 and $3 levels get access to Safi's novels.
Yay! So if you want to have a sci-fi novel that talks about allyship and focuses on a single mom who has to do what's right for people even when it's inconvenient for her and her child, read Mother Revolution. If you want the beginning of a epic fantasy trilogy where there are twists on the common expectations of feudalism and heroes, and on top of that, lizard people that have fire that shoot out of their arms, read Hidden Root. And if you want a book that anecdotally seems to be read really fast by people who happen to have ADHD, try both. Because anecdotally, all my friends who read it really fast happen to have ADHD. And they're like, I didn't know I liked reading books like this sometimes. And it's like, well,
someday I'll have to try to read them.
You don't even have to say this anymore. You could just, I accept the fact, Mystic, you're not going to read my books. Maybe when the audiobooks finally come out, though.
Yes. Slight warning here, we do have some exploration of sexuality in this one. Nothing too vivid, perhaps, but perhaps not too kid-friendly. You know, it depends on where your line lies on that. There's also a passage with some mildly vivid wartime violence.
Ooh.
Mildly vivid. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up, Mystic.
So this is another game in the veritable collection of walking simulators that we have covered.
Yeah, but not something that's just called a walking sim because somebody wasn't able to score points.
Right. No, this is probably one of the OG of the narrative-based walking sims.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we've actually covered a game by this company before.
Okay.
When we covered Tacoma, same developer.
Oh, okay. But I don't know anything else that they've done.
This was the first game that they were known for.
Okay.
We're going back to 2014.
Oh.
And we've discussed this game before.
All right. I'm just not remembering this then.
Okay, this is the game Gone Home.
Okay. I do think I remember talking about that. Was this, when we were talking about this, when we were comparing it to like Dear Esther or something like that? Okay. That was years ago.
This is the same relative time of walking simulators kind of becoming their own narrative-driven thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Fulbright, the developer, is still around, but there's a lot of drama and baggage around just saying that. I believe it is a solo thing now because everyone else left because of drama and baggage.
This just reminds me of like, I think it's Zaum, the creators of Disco Elysium, which Mystic is like, why haven't you covered Disco
Yes,
Elysium
yeah.
yet? The reason I have is because ethically, I don't know if I should even talk about it, because it's just such a mess about what's happening with the developers and
It honestly,
their ability to do stuff. It's insane.
half of the games we've covered probably has someone problematic on the team.
I know. But there's a whole like, are we supporting the artists? And there's a lot of baggage with it too. And trying to get down to the root of it, it's just I'm not in a position to do that. I'm not a journalist, and I've watched journalists try, and even they struggle.
There have been times we've covered Kingdom Come Deliverance, which has a lot of baggage in that regard to it, and I said, you know what?
Yeah.
not paying attention to that because it's not part of the game. Here's the game.
Yeah. That's true. In cases like this, we do our little preamble of there is more to it, and it is problematic.
Yeah.
So.
This
so
game,
wait, is it problematic at Fulbright, or is it just drama?
It sounds like the founder of the company was discriminatory or sexist or something. I don't remember the exact thing.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah, I believe he is the only person still at Fulbright. Everyone else has left to other developers at this point.
What does that say about him that he can't even keep a team together?
This game has so much text, lore, and notes that it's kind of maddening. And since the entirety of the motivations we get for our main character and her journey is all through text and notes, we've got a lot of pages to go through.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Our game begins at 1:15 a.m. on June 7th, 1995.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
was
this is-
I was 8.
This is also where the story is going to end. This is one of those games where you uncover the past and all this stuff to get, yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
But 1:15 in the morning on June 7th, 1905, when 21-year-old Caitlin Greenbrier arrives to her family's new home.
Okay.
They got the home while she was in Amsterdam for her sophomore year of college studying abroad. Fair enough.
All right.
I'm going to go by Katie because that's what her sister calls her in a lot of notes.
I know so many Katies in my life that it's going to confuse me.
Katie Greenbrier is our protagonist in this, or at least she is our player character. Her younger sister, Samantha, is our real protagonist in the story, honestly.
Okay.
She still lives at home with her parents, Janice and Terrence Greenbrier. Janice works for the State Forestry Service. This is in Oregon. And Terrence is an author of novels and tech reviews. We'll get more into that later.
The in-game equivalent of Linus Tech Tips?
No, we're going older than that even.
Than Linus Tech Tips?
Well, yeah, this is the 90s. And
That's fair.
Yeah, so.
That's fair. I'm sorry. I just he's been around for a while now, so it's just funny.
Yeah, we're not going to follow Katie's journey through the house after the first scene because we get pieces all over the place of the story and the lives of characters in the house they live in. It's a walking sim where piecing together the scattered notes and clippings and stuff is how we get the whole story.
Right.
So the new house is at 1 Arbor Hill, Boone County, Oregon. Okay?
Okay.
It's often called the House on Arbor Hill, which is all right.
Sounds ominous that way.
Or as some locals call it, the Psycho House.
Ew. That is it called the Psycho
We'll
House?
get there. It's not. Honestly, it's not a very interesting reason.
Oh, well, I mean, it makes that reads like small town. It's like
yes,
interesting name for not interesting.
Notice that it's Boone County, Oregon, not a town, a county. So we're probably in unincorporated.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Nobody picks her up when she lands on her plane from Amsterdam, which she did expect. She's like, it's going to be late. I'll just get a shuttle. But when she arrives at the address, nobody is around to greet her at all. And she's puzzled by this and is also puzzled by a note on the door. Katie, I'm sorry I can't be there to see you, but it's impossible. Please, please don't go digging around trying to find out where I am. I don't want anyone to know. And instead of, she is scratched out, I don't want mom and dad to know. It says, I don't want anyone to know. We get a lot of this type of stuff. We'll see each other again someday. Don't be worried. I love you, Sam.
And how old is Sam again? 17, you said, was it? No.
I think 17. Yeah.
Okay.
The house itself is old, dating back to at least 1923, but obviously could have been built earlier than that even. In the 20s, the house was used for bootlegging. This was Prohibition era in the U.S. This might account for the insane number of hidden passages in the structure, though not nearly as many as the crazy house in What Remains of Edith Finch, if you remember the...
Yeah. No, I appreciate that they have a more realistic excuse for that, because
Yeah.
What Remains with Edith Finch, it's like, well, why are there all these crazy pathways? Trauma!
Trauma.
Trauma.
It's the Winchester house if it was driven by trauma, which the Winchester house was driven by trauma. so.
Exactly. I was going to say, what are you talking about? That's exactly what it was.
The next thing in the timeline we find, the house comes with the ownership of Oscar Mason, a pharmacist. Also uncle to Terrence.
Okay.
Yeah. And Terrence, born in 1951, spent much of his time during childhood at the house with Oscar. We see like lines on the wall for his height and stuff. So,
Oh, that's cute.
yeah. Eventually he stopped going over, which, yeah.
Yeah, you get older.
You get older, yeah.
You got other plans.
And in 1972, he married Janice.
Aw.
Just to clarify at this point, they do not live in the house. Oscar does. They are living instead in Forest Grove, about an hour away from this house. Now, between those two important dates, his birth and marrying Janice, something else equally important happened on the 22nd of November, 1963.
Is this the assassination of JFK?
Yes,
Am I
President John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's the right date. But the thing is, you said November, and that always throws me off because the day looks really nice in the footage we have, but it's
in
was
Texas.
Texas. Yeah. So for us, November in Chicago is at least like cold enough that you need jackets and scarves.
Yeah.
So it's not what it looks like in
Now,
Texas.
the timeline is wobbly in some regards. So let me just get the kids' birth years down, even though they're after. So Katie is born in 1973. Sam is born in 1977.
Okay.
However, before either of them are born, the JFK assassination would become the basis for Terrence's novel, The Accidental Savior, a political thriller. Now, we don't get much about the actual story beyond the very short back cover.
Ooh. What's the back cover say? Do you have it?
November 21st, 1963, John Russell knows that the president's life hangs in the balance, but who would believe him? With praise below it saying, not just another James Bond and a high-class political thriller. It seems to involve a rift in time or something like that, based on something that we get much later in the timeline. So there's definitely a sci-fi like bend to it too.
American-based time travel narratives are absolutely obsessed with whether the assassination of JFK is like a canon event of some sort.
Yeah.
I just remember it's been referenced multiple times before in situations like that, but I remember when I watched the second season of The Umbrella Academy, and there was this whole thing, it's like this time traveler's job was to make sure the assassination went down for JFK, and I was like, can we stop referencing JFK or World War II in our time traveling shenanigans? I want it to be something mundane but also equally important to history.
Right.
You know, like it was the day, I don't know, something like Einstein signs up for a different school than what he was thinking, or something crazy like that. Something simple like that. You know, somebody shows
the ripple effect of one person going into their office one day changes the course of history, so that one person has to go. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You know, somebody tripped over the right thing and then it made the right person meet George Washington Carver. Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something a little bit more uplifting than, well, this person has to die for history to be true. Why? Why do we have to be so negative? It's fiction. Do what you want. Sorry, but
that's fine.
So Terrence wrote essentially this time traveling thriller.
Yeah. He sends a copy to his father, hoping for some sort of probably positive feedback. He gets this in response. Dear Terrence, thank you for sending along a copy of your newly published book. An author's first published manuscript is a momentous occasion. I read it this afternoon. I certainly recognize my son in the subject matter. An author's work is the externalization of that which he holds dear and that which he fears, and in this respect, your work was successful. But the lens through which the personal shone was needlessly clouded by genre cliches and implausible dime store science fiction deus ex machina, blah, blah, blah. He continues later, I congratulate you on surviving the great ordeal that is publication, and rest assured that readers of your chosen genre will lap up copies hungrily. But I urge you to shed artifice. You can do better. With a father's love and encouragement, and he signs it, Richard Greenbrier, Ph.D.
This man has never read any of the sci-fi filth written by L. Ron Hubbard. You mean this is some highbrow? That stuff gets you paid. Who cares? You know how hard it is to get paid as an author?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sadly, though, it does seem his father is right in how pedestrian the book is. It doesn't sell amazingly well. Terrence nevertheless writes The Accidental Pariah, which we also have a back cover for.
Ooh.
A message from our future saved the president's life once, but within the next 24 hours, there'll be another attempt, and the lines of communication are down. With more praise like a James Bond for today's audience, or compelling, a thriller worth its salt. This one does even worse, and the publisher ends up dropping him.
That sounds about right, unfortunately.
Also, I love how both are like James Bond, and if it's sci-fi, it's not James Bond. Like, not this type of sci-fi anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think it's James Bond in a sense. It's still a spy thriller, but it's a spy thriller with a time-traveling element to it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And so it was interesting to hear. So if you decide to write, anybody listening, and you want to be a published author, one of the bigger decisions you got to make now is whether you want to go traditional publishing or indie publishing. I went indie publishing because I have control problems when it comes to my work. I want to be able to choose the book cover exactly and all of that stuff. And for me, something that helped cement that this was the better path for me and how I want to do it, even though the sales are going slow, is because I found out that there are a lot of traditionally published books that don't even sell 100 copies.
Yeah.
And being traditionally published doesn't mean you're successful. It means an agent thought you were worth printing. That's not the same thing.
Yeah. It doesn't mean they're going to give you marketing. It doesn't mean they're going to give you whatever. It means that they want to secure a right to publish.
Exactly.
And that's it.
And they hope you make money. And for some of those publishers, they hope you stumble into making money for them because they don't want to work hard for it either.
Yeah.
So it's not, considering that traditional publishing was the primary and like pretty much sole way to make sure that you were going to have any distribution anywhere worth your time. It was the only way back then. So it's too bad that he only got 2 shots at it.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
In 1978, he gets a hookup from a friend to write reviews for a magazine called Hi-Fi Aficionado. Basically, he becomes a freelance tech reviewer.
Okay, cool.
Fair enough. Janice, we have even less on. As I said, she works for the Forestry Service for the state of Oregon. She went to college and is still close friends with her college roommate, Carol. In fact, they called each other Roomie in, like, talk to you next time, Roomie. Like, in their correspondence to each other, which is weird. It's been a while. Like,
I get that, but also that's where their bond was forged.
That's fair.
You know, and if you're lucky, you get paired with somebody you get along with really
true.
well.
She married Terrence when she was 22. Katie is born a year later. We lose track of things for the most part for the early lives of Katie and Sam, only getting little hints here and there. Sam is friends with the boy Daniel, who lives nearby.
Okay.
She writes a story about them being pirates, full of typos and everything. It honestly reminds me of Little Buddy's attempts at writing. I will translate, though.
As best you can.
Yeah. So Samantha and Daniel were in the woods one day. It was sunny, and they were on a adventure.
Okay.
But they went to the bad part of the woods, and it got dark. Daniel said, "Are you scared?" So Samantha said, "No, are you? They left and went more into the bad part. Then they went to a part that was never there before. And there was a ship, a pirate ship on an ocean. Samantha said, I'll be the captain and you'll be the first mate. Daniel said, aye, aye, captain. And they went on the pirate ship and started sailing away. Safi.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of red underlines in that passage.
Daniel is spelled Danyal.
Adventure is spelled Avether.
First grade.
Yes.
Say first grade.
Yeah.
A little more advanced than little buddy. Yeah.
And then we jump to second grade. She revises the pirate story, removing Daniel's name as first mate. Captain Allegra looked off at the ocean. It went on forever, or so it seemed. Someday she would find the edge and get to the paradise there. Then she heard a cannon fire. Boom! It was the black pirate ship. She yelled, I thought we lost him at Horse Island. The first mate said, looks like you thought too soon. The black ship came alongside. Captain Black himself came out on the deck of the black ship. He yelled to Captain Allegra, You're never gonna find the edge. There ain't no paradise and your father were a liar. Captain Allegra yelled back, Then why do you keep following us, you imbecile? The first mate yelled out, We'll stop you, Captain Black. We'll find the edge of the world and you'll see her father was no liar. The battle kept going until Captain Allegra's ship got away. Now west, he said, and the ship sailed toward the sunset. This gets sent home with a note, and frankly, it's kind of maddening how much this fits with the time period.
Okay, yeah, so this was written probably in the early 80s.
Yes. Dear Mrs. Greenbrier, I would like to talk to you about the stories that Samantha has been writing lately. They are what I expect from the little boys in class, which, along with a few other tendencies I have observed, brings me a bit of concern. Please call to schedule a parent-teacher meeting at your earliest convenience. Thank you, Karen Brown.
So angry. Just so angry. It's funny too because there's a lot. I mean, like, I speak as a girl who had a tomboy phase, and I would say kind of grew out of it. Like, I'm definitely not trying to be as tomboyish as I used to be. I still prefer pants most of the time, but that's a different thing entirely.
Following that over the coming years, we see that Katie is a bit of a track star. She has a few trophies for first place in different meets and stuff.
Nice.
And Sam continues to write. We then get this weird reproductive system worksheet where Katie has to write the menstrual cycle in order. Fair. Bio class is a thing.
I'm glad they're willing to teach that in school, because there are some schools who would be really weird about that.
Basically, it's this scrambled list of steps turned narrative in the menstrual cycle, and then they're scrambled up. You have to rewrite them in order. Katie just unscrambles the steps, no embellishment beyond what was on the page, gets a good grade. Mm-hmm. We'll get back to that assignment later.
Ooh, interesting. I can't wait to see what Sam did.
Terrence doesn't continue to write any novels, but he does continue doing reviews for the magazine. We also find a gentleman's magazine, quote unquote, stashed in his boxes of unsold books. Now, this doesn't sound important, but just keep a thread in that for one passage later.
Gentleman's magazine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, Dad has adult magazines, which, whatever.
That's a classic. It was a classic trope in stories and other stuff. And it probably was true. I don't know.
The next time we see Sam's writing is in 1992 in 9th grade. And yes, we're going to read it because this story continues Sam's development.
Okay.
Allegra and her scouting party peered down warily through the dense canopy of rustling leaves from their perch high in the forest branches. Mere feet away, the sunlight shone brightly off the inner ice walls of the glacial basin in which the forest grew. It was a strange sight indeed, such lushness juxtaposed with the frigid ice formations. I do want to say, you can see the growth as a writer.
Yeah, very cool.
Allegra leapt forward without hesitation, bounding through the high branches. The first mate had been captured by the Green Glacier's Amazon tribe. His life hung in the balance. We have to hurry. Allegra's party followed behind, moving quietly as a breeze through the greenery. Allegra landed in the clearing and shouted, "Stop!" She saw the Queen Amazonian up on her pedestal, reaching for the lever to drop her first mate into the vat below. She shouted, "No!" and flung her saber at the Amazon's reaching hand, but it was too late. The first mate screamed as he fell toward the water and splashed down, and all was eerily silent. Allegra looked on, frozen in fear and remorse. She had been a moment too late. But then from the vat something began to emerge, a head of dark brown hair, just like the first mate's. Then the shoulders and sleeves of the coat, soaking wet. But as the figure stood and the water poured, Allegra saw the first mate had changed. He was no longer a man at all. In fact, what looked back at her were the eyes, the face, the hair, and hands and body of a woman, still in the first mate's clothes. Still the first mate, she, spoke in a soft, clear voice. "Captain?" The Amazonian queen said, "She is one of us now. She is ours." Allegra drew her magical flintlock pistols from her belt, and her crew readied their swords. Allegra glared into the queen's eyes and said, "That is the love of my life, and you can't have her." So we get this gender swap of the first mate, which the captain immediately accepts, calling her the love of my life.
Yeah.
So
I had a feeling there was going to be some queer allegory coming as soon as I got the note from the
yes,
from the teacher.
yeah. Oh no, this was.
And then I paired that with, and their name is Sam. Convenient.
This is definitely one of those games that was pre-woke, but kind of started that whole woke ideology, which I'm saying that way because
you're hearing the emphasis on the air quotes that's in a way that only Mystic can say in audio.
Yeah.
It's so. Let's brief sidebar. Games always had some quote unquote woke tendencies.
Yeah.
Here and there, depending on who was making them. Just because the stuff that was most popular wasn't necessarily overtly quote unquote woke doesn't mean that the medium didn't have that in there here and there throughout whole time. I'm sorry, Super Mario 2 had Birdo. All right. That is a queer icon. You can't tell me anything different.
I mean, you want to go back to like 1992.
Yeah.
Rex Nebular and the Cosmic Gender Bender was a point-and-click adventure game. Like,
yeah, it's just...
I know nothing about that game. I just remember the title, and we'll have to look into that, but I have no idea if it was sensitive or not. I have no idea anything about it, but clearly... Like
so here's the thing that stinks is that video games were very quickly in a capitalist situation kind of pushed into a young boys niche for marketing because they thought that would be the easiest way to sell video games and make money, because the lie that capitalism tells you is that everything needs to be put into a place where it will maximize its market share, so to speak. And at the time, people didn't believe toys, and video games were slowly becoming seen as toys, had mass appeal. And toys in the 80s in particular became very gendered. And now I feel like there's a lot of, in the last decade or two, a lot of pushback into this idea that toys have to be gendered, but it remains a pink aisle and a blue aisle in a lot of toy stores, even if they don't say boys' toys and girls' toys anymore.
Right.
So
just remember, pink and blue used to be the opposite colors back in the day.
Yes, honestly, we should dress little buddy in more pink. Just make a statement of it. He won't mind.
I do not want to turn my kid into a statement, please.
Fair. I'm joking, honestly. If he decided, though, to on his own, we wouldn't care.
In 1983, Oscar Mason dies and leaves the house on Arbor Hill to his only family, Terrence. So the reason it's called the Psycho House is because Oscar kind of became a bit of a recluse later in life, introverted and isolated. So the reputation in the community grew that...
Now, did Oscar like Terrence's writing?
That I don't have any record of.
Because it would be interesting to compare It would be
The
interesting
father versus the uncle.
versus the uncle.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times I feel like in family stories where you're kind of weird in your immediate family, but you have the one aunt who gets you, or the one uncle or cousin, older
Right.
cousin
Yeah,
usually,
I get it.
who gets you. Yeah.
Katie heads off to Amsterdam in June of 1984 as the family is starting to finally prep for the move to the new house in August.
Yeah.
So we eventually find a copy of Gentleman's Magazine from July 1984 in Sam's locker in her room, either bought on her own or more likely stolen from Dad's subscription or supply.
Absolutely.
This one has articles about UFOs. And
She totally got it for the articles.
And Gillian Anderson. Sam is an X-Files fan.
She totally got it for the UFOs. Totally.
So it would be easier for her to explain why she has it, but we can see through her first mate character evolution and the love of her life that she's probably questioning her own sexuality for some time, and this is part of that journey for her.
Yes.
After moving to Boone County, a few things start to happen. Katie begins to send postcards home, finding the home address to be a place she's never been a bit weird, which, fair. I'm not going to touch much on Katie's exploits. It's a lot of her traveling around Europe and going to different places.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, just to like relate on a personal note, that Katie's off having a year abroad. It's a year abroad in college, or like just a year. How old is
a year abroad? She's 21, sophomore in college. So
sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting because my father had a similar experience where he went to college and he got a call and they said, "P.S. We're moving." He's like, "What?" And he's the oldest of, not quite yet then, but what would become 13 kids. And it's just interesting to think that you could go to school
and then home is not where home was.
And then you come back home and it's not anything you grew up with.
Right.
Your younger siblings love it because it had more space. Mystic knows what I'm talking about. They had more space and it was very, very fun in that regard. But like, I couldn't imagine like being 19, 20, 21, you come quote unquote home. And home is just
a place you've never been.
Foreign place.
Yeah.
You're sharing a room with your younger brother, who also is like, I don't know why we did this. Like,
Janice gets some new coworkers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's it. Why are we noting that, Mystic?
You'll see.
Okay.
Sam starts keeping a ghost journal of all the weird things around the house. Large shadows, noises, milk inexplicably going bad. We do find out eventually that the wiring in the house is safe, but unpredictable, which to me means not safe, but
this also parallels my father's experience, apparently.
But lights would blink and stuff. And reading the actual electrician report for in game is like, oh yeah, walking puts pressure on the wires in the floors and in the walls, which is why they blink. And I'm like, that doesn't sound safe to me.
Feels like that's a game puzzle and a fire hazard.
Yeah, luckily they don't do that in this. There's like no puzzle. It's just.
I'm sorry, but when you said like that, I was like, that sounds like a game mechanic that they needed an excuse for.
Around September, there are some signs of a problem between Janice and Terrence. Continually, they are not going to couples bowling. They have that like weekly. They're not going that more. They're not doing any ballroom dancing. The only thing that is really happening is cooking class.
Oh.
Yeah. Sam starts at her new school, checking off all the items on her list of supplies the principal sent for her to have before starting. Every single one except for a positive attitude. Literally leaving that line unchecked. This is compounded when she starts being labeled at school, to the point even her first meetings and note passes devolve into cheap insults and jibes toward her being the psycho house girl.
And she's already queer coded, and kids get a sense of that when you can try really hard to not be different and fit in, but most of the time kids are very I say kids as in teenagers are very emotionally perceptive. They kind of have to be, considering all the hormonal changes they have to go through. They're trying to read each other and the world and try to establish themselves, and hence the joke, "You don't understand, Dad."
Yeah.
And the joke is, we've understood the whole time.
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. Sam gets the reproductive sheet homework that Katie did earlier.
Oh, I can't not wait to hear how she fills it out.
And she has a very, very different take on the assignment.
Are we sailing the seas?
No, this is where that trigger warning comes from.
Okay. Oh, my.
She takes all the steps that Katie just reorganized.
Yeah.
And works them into a story about a survivor of World War II era Poland. Safi's face is very confused.
Well, she still doesn't have that positive attitude.
And we're going to go through that story, not in exacting detail, because I don't want to do it.
That I feel like there's so many other allegories for the menstrual cycle experience that could correlate to war, but it would not be World War II Poland.
No, this is literally, so like she has to work in lines like the thickening of the uterine wall into the story. So a woman named Essa Glatz is introduced, and we follow her own menstrual cycle as it relates to coming home to her betrothed love, Boris, including the line, thickening of her uterine wall, all that stuff. They see each other as she gets off the train. German planes start flying overhead, and they run for it. Boris's legs get blown off in a bombing, and Sam dryly notes at this point that Essa's eggs will not be meeting a sperm. It dissolves.
This is like the darkest menstrual cycle story. I just...
As Boris dies, weeks later, Essa has her period, vows to survive all of this that's going on around her, joins the Polish resistance as a spy and saboteur. During this, another ovum develops in the ovaries and the cycle continues. And it ends with the line like, isn't the miracle of how a body prepares for pregnancy amazing, or something like that. It's just like... The teacher apparently did not like this creative interpretation of the assignment, and the note simply says, "See me."
Okay. So point one, very creative. Point two, you are obviously bored.
Yes.
Point three, I'm not sure Boris is a Polish name. You may want to check that. I don't know.
It changed. It was like Borislav, and then it was like just Boris and another one. So I was like, I'm not going to try to look this up, and I'm just going to put Boris for both of them.
Ah, jeez. Yeah. I know. Oh, okay. That's all right.
That might be on me, but anyway.
No, and I don't know either, honestly. I'm just saying I thought it was Russian, not Polish, and there is a difference. Don't
Yes.
you come at me saying there's not. There absolutely is.
So that's Sam's interpretation of.
I'm just like, now that you could take this so many different ways. Like, could you apply this to the Arthurian legend? What about, creation myths? Like this creation myths might be a little too dead on, actually. Anyway, I'm impressed and also somewhat disgusted.
I think it's more just Sam's like, this is the dumbest thing that I have to do. Let me just make it at least interesting.
Yeah, I mean, by that point, so she's in
Ninth grade.
So by ninth grade, I very well knew what a menstrual cycle was.
Right.
I knew what a menstrual cycle was.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know about you, Mystic, because I was not in public schools until 6th grade, but they started teaching us some of this stuff when I was in 2nd grade.
I don't remember.
And that was
but I vaguely remember some stuff in grade school. Yeah.
Because they, and it basically was a lot of like running around until one point in 5th grade. They're like, so like, what do you guys know? And literally one of my classmates said, we basically know everything except for how the sperm gets to the egg. And everybody laughed. And then we moved on and went over the same stuff we learned the last 4 years ago. So yeah.
Anyway. September 13th, 1984 comes around. We get Sam's journal entry, Big Gold Star. You know that feeling where the first moment you see someone, it's like they have a big gold star around them and you have to get to know them? This is her, I'm quoting her exactly. Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk, but sometimes I see her in this, like, army uniform. And she's always drawing in this notebook, looking so intense. I had no idea how I would ever have an excuse to talk to her till I noticed she and her friends hang out and play Street Fighter at the 7-Eleven every day after school.
This is so 90s.
Yeah.
Wait, what year is this again?
94.
Grunge. Oh,
Yeah.
the grunge era.
Sam calls up Daniel, who she has kind of found weird for a long time now and been very distant from. But he's been asking her to touch base after so long and see the new house.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So she invites him over, mostly with the reason of getting a copy of Street Fighter for the Super Nintendo.
Wow, Sam, you got to be a better human in this.
I think
sorry.
she understands that later.
Yeah,
She does.
That's fair.
Which Daniel's mom also calls a Nintendo tape, which just feels so accurate.
That's so his parents back then. Oh my god. Like, and it feels funny saying that because my parents tend to be more technically adept than their peers, but that's so what they would say. P.S. Kids, do you know what a cassette tape is? If you don't, look it up on Wikipedia. Be amazed that that's what we used.
Then figure out how 8-track works. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Sam begins to practice Street Fighter for the next month, really learning Chun-Li's moves. We really should cover Street Fighter at some point.
Oh, we haven't.
We haven't. Yeah.
I'm getting that mixed up with Mortal Kombat is not Street Fighter.
No.
So I cannot mix those two up.
Eventually, during all of this, one of Sam's teachers actually notices her creative writing and pushes her to try to get one of 3 scholarships at Reed College for the summer program for young scholars.
Oh, very cool. I'm glad somebody recognized her talent.
Eventually, Sam also meets the Big Gold Star, Yolanda Lonnie DeSoto.
Ooh.
And Lonnie is the first to not shy away from the psycho house girl. In fact, she wants to see the house.
Ooh.
Partially because she kicked Sam's butt in Street Fighter because the button inputs are different from Super Nintendo to the arcade.
Yes, if anybody hasn't experienced, so it's probably hard to explain because even if you're into arcades in this day and age, like I feel like the controller situation's different. Like you,
Yeah, I think, yeah.
but there was first of all, I remember when a lot of times you would just have the joystick and 2 buttons.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, Street Fighter had 6 buttons
Oh.
because you had 3 different kicks and 3 different punches.
That's right. Okay, I think I
And
remember
so on a
seeing
Super
this.
Nintendo controller, you're kind of stuck using the shoulder buttons, but I don't remember if they had those mapped that way or did they just have the 4? I don't remember. But yeah, it was just, they didn't put as much thought into the control schemes for the home releases usually.
Yeah, and it would make sense. They would just be like, you don't need the extra kick or punch. You guys are just
Yeah.
be playing in the same thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
They
You have to get the glove.
Oh no, the Power Glove was terrible. They begin to hang out more, going to movies like Pulp Fiction, which they honestly shouldn't have been able to see.
No. What? No. They snuck. Who snuck them in? Who snuck them in?
I don't remember. It's one of their friends is like, you gotta go see it, and they're like, all right, fine, we'll go see it. If it's terrible, we'll laugh at him.
I have this image in my head of them like gasping as the point when Uma Thurman takes like the adrenaline shot straight to the chest. Have you seen this movie, Mystic?
I don't even know. I don't think so, actually.
Okay, we should watch it, but I will say that is a scene. That's one of many different scenes where you should not be able to see what is going on.
Right. However, relating to this movie, Lonnie seems to have a family that just doesn't care. She herself has an anti-authoritarian streak. I'm not judging that part, but when given the choice to flip a problematic shirt inside out, it's basically a Pabst Blue Ribbon shirt that she was wearing.
Oh, okay.
She can either flip it inside out, switch to a gym shirt, or choose suspension. She chooses suspension. And given we find the paperwork her father is supposed to sign in Sam's room, it seems like her dad doesn't care.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Sam's October 22nd journal entry is called Dealing with Roots. Lonnie brought her hair dye over today. She said, I need to fix these roots. Think you could help. Dyeing is weirdly intimate. I don't know if I ever touched someone else's scalp before. That's pretty intimate, right? It felt intimate. We looked into the mirror together after, and I expected her to say something about how it looked crappy or good or whatever, but that's when she said, you're so beautiful. And she was looking at me. Right in that moment, I wanted to say something, but I waited, and the moment was gone.
Oh, these poor queer kids. Just kiss already. It's so cute.
The two of them hang out more, doing ghost hunts with a Ouija board, which is also so, like,
Yes.
80s and 90s.
Yes, so true.
Lonnie takes Sam to a concert in the city, and Sam lies to her parents to cover this.
Nah. Oh, yeah. Classic stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the parents still not bonding at all. The marriage is still...
We'll get to more stuff with the family in a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
They spend the night after the concert at Lonnie's friend's place in the city, and it's then that Lonnie and Sam sleep on a futon. And Sam sees Lonnie smiling at her in the dark, saying simply, I really like you. Sam is, in her own words, feeling like a can of shook-up soda ever since.
Her analogies are very interesting.
I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty cute.
The rest of the family has stuff going on during all this, obviously. Janice is working with her new coworker an awful lot, getting gifts from him like a book of poetry.
Oh, it's a guy.
And he even invites her to a concert for Earth, Wind, and Fire that his girlfriend with terrible taste in music, unlike Janice, doesn't want to go to.
How? Dump her. Why would you date anybody who doesn't respect Earth, Wind, and Fire? Like, I'm not even saying you have to be a big fan. Respect Earth,
Right.
Wind, and Fire.
Janice goes to get a shampoo, color perm, and manicure the day before the concert. Here's the thing. I don't care. I don't, but the game gives us the information, so make of it what you will.
Well, I think it's the idea of, like, she's putting in a lot of effort.
She is, and I get that's what they're trying to go for. At the
Yeah.
same time, I don't care.
Well, like, I'll say this, Mystic. I mean, you and I have friends that are of the different gender, but neither one of us go super primp out a lot.
That's true.
To visit those friends.
We do kind of get this idea later on that she's probably reading more into it than she should be.
Oh,
But we'll get there.
Interesting.
Terrence, meanwhile, has been getting way too wordy in his reviews, not focusing on the product he's supposed to be reviewing, but meandering into childhood analogies. Basically, he's on thin ice at the magazine, held up by the fact that his friend that got him the job is high up in the chain of command there. So Terrence is basically, honestly, probably depressed.
Yeah, it
You
sounds
know?
like he's regressing, and therefore he's remembering when things were easier in childhood,
Yeah.
and he's using his job as an excuse to express it because we don't let men express their feelings. Patriarchy hurts everyone.
So the mom is possibly having an affair.
Possibly.
Yeah. Even seeking this one employee to get permanent status at her station,
Oh.
giving him exemplary reviews, all fives across the board.
And
the
that's
dad,
dangerous because
Yeah,
companies don't want you to do that.
yeah. And Terrence is dealing with work falling apart as he wallows. In the midst of this, we get another entry from Sam. Lonnie feels that what she said in the city was wrong. Like, Sam is going to think it's weird. Sam shoots that down immediately. They sit in the bed, and Sam asks Lonnie, do you think you could ever? And that's when Lonnie kissed her.
Aww.
Things change. They still hang out, but to them, it's dating.
Okay.
Secret dating, but
Secret
dating.
Yeah.
The only difference is the shared I loves yous. It's still the 90s.
Yeah.
Sam pays $80 cash for 2 half-heart pendants inscribed with L plus S.
$80.
Yeah, it was like 50 something for the heart pendants,
Okay.
and then $20 to inscribe them or something. You
That's
see
a
the
lot.
ticket, but
That's
yeah.
still a lot.
It felt like a lot when I saw it. I was like, really? Okay.
Especially for the 90s. Jeez.
Unless you got like really nice ones,
Like
but
35K gold or something?
yeah, like I don't know. After that, we get a bunch of very long letters with hearts and different colored pens, and yeah, as Lonnie spends time with her family in Mexico over Christmas break. Lonnie tries to teach her some Spanish, and there's some insinuation of physical intimacy brewing,
Oh.
including having to spend a lot of time in the dark room with all the photos that Lonnie's been taking in Mexico. Basically, this is plans. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Or talking about how much they miss in like laying next to each other in bed and stuff. You know.
Okay.
I didn't include it in this script because it's barely in the game. There is literally a diary entry of Sam's that talks about their first like actual time being physical.
Oh, wow.
And Kate picks it up and just immediately puts it down, and you can't pick it up again. She's like, I don't need to read that.
Yes.
So
There's something about being an older sibling where you're like, I admit that that's part of your life, and that's all I need to do.
yeah.
This is all I don't want to do that at all. Yeah. No.
January, things begin to get serious, but not in the way that they expected. Sam gets into the scholarship program,
Hooray.
but finds out that in June, Lonnie is shipping out to basic training.
Oh, that's right. She's older.
Not just that. Sam hasn't realized that Lonnie was in the ROTC. It wasn't just like this uniform that she was wearing.
Oh.
Yeah. It's her uniform. She's always wanted to go from school to Army. That has been her dream since she was like 12. Sam asks if that's it. After graduation, they never see each other again. And Lonnie just says that they should have fun while they can.
Wow. Oh, God. That's painful.
Yeah. Janice, because I know we all care about the mom and dad, even the wiki lists them as minor characters.
Yeah, they're just... Well, I think it's also showing, like, these two are not keeping up with what's happening with Sam, and it's because they're kind of self-involved into their own stuff right now.
Yeah. But life is life.
Here's the thing that I always thought was interesting. It's advice my mother gave me years ago before I always knew I wanted to have kids, so my mom would occasionally just like put little nuggets like diddle-diddle-doo. She's like, even teenagers feel lonely. You can't just let your teenagers just like, you can't be like, oh, they're old enough now, they're gonna be okay. You still have to look after them in an emotional way, because there was like some, oh man, television talk shows back in the day when Oprah was on TV. There was I think it was an episode. This was before Dr. Phil had a spinoff, and like this one was like, yeah, I took a trip to Italy for 2 weeks and I left my teenage son behind, and I was like, that's
a lot.
That feels weird. And my mom immediately tells me, like, kids get lonely. You can't just leave them behind. They don't suddenly get older. And then she goes, and also, what if they break something? I can't fix it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect them to do? So I imagine Sam is feeling lonely outside the moments that she has with Lonnie, who understands her now, because she has a mother who's hyperfixated on this attraction and a father who's hyperfixated on wallowing in his own pity.
Right. Janice gets a promotion offer.
Hooray!
But if she accepts it, she'll be closer to home, but further from where Rick is now stationed at her old station. And she hesitates on accepting the promotion.
Oh.
So even her old roomie, Carol, is saying, take the job. What the heck?
What's the problem?
And also telling Janice that she may be reading way too much into Rick's innocent concert outing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just friends. Like with all my other guy friends, sometimes you're just friends.
Lonnie starts singing for a friend's band. Sam, of course, thinks that she's amazing.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Lonnie and Sam take a field trip with the class to a state park and get lost together, almost missing the bus back, because that's a thing that happens on school trips. The bus leaves without all the kids.
Back in the day it would.
That's fair.
That's totally... I'm just saying, in kindergarten, my teacher locked me out of the school by quote-unquote accident.
So Janice and Terrence are all talking like, you didn't get in trouble like this before you met that Lonnie girl. I'm sorry. I point to Sam Defense Exhibit A, the reproductive worksheet that featured World War II Poland, and Exhibit B, the pirate stories that also got in trouble in school for being too boyish. Sam has always walked her own path. Yeah.
That's just like, you never got in trouble. Like, okay, it's a field trip. Getting left behind is a thing that's going to be newer. And I don't know. That seems silly. Yeah.
They literally use the line, get back on track later with her in another thing. So,
oh, man.
Again, it's the 90s. Terrence is surprised, like probably legitimately surprised, when he hears from a new publisher, Unknown Dimension Limited. I think that's what LIT limited, or is it literature? I don't know.
LTD, I think, is
Limited. What's
limited.
LIT then?
Lit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just lit. Yeah.
Who has been trying to find him for a while now. They specialize in off-the-wall, weird, ahead-of-its-time stuff. They've been having a great time lately publishing genre pulp like Message of the Snake Men by N.N. Bestmans, It's Inside Me by Jens Keller, and the often banned Venusian Flesh Traders. They want to do a reprinting of Terrence's first 2 novels, including a new forward for a new limited edition print.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Go, Terrence, go.
Yeah. At school, Sam and Lonnie are dealing with bullies over their relationship to the point that people are graffitiing Sam's locker.
I was afraid of that.
Lonnie defaces her own locker in protest because the school wasn't doing anything. And the principal basically says to let the issue drop. Looking back, the 90s was weird.
It's just so hard for me because I grew up in a house where, like, my parents were very accepting, and it was obvious that, like, if people are different and it's not hurting you, you just let them be different. And it took me a long time to understand how hard it was for people who were queer growing up. I had no idea why you would hide it, especially because living in Chicago, like, there's plenty of safe places for you to be. So it's just hard to hear that kids in particular aren't able to be authentically themselves without suffering this craziness. And their peers learned it from somewhere, and it's not just from other peers. That just means people's parents are awful.
Yeah. Sam says that every minute she's not with Lonnie, she's spent worrying her parents will find out about the relationship with Lonnie.
Oh, man.
Katie is honestly far more open-minded than her parents. But that tracks, honestly.
Yeah, usually. That's usually how it goes.
But, in fact, Janice and Terrence always joked with Katie about sending her to the nunnery if she brought boys over. And Sam idly wonders what her parents would do with her.
I mean, the nunnery would probably be a better dating pool.
But clearly she's not told them anything about her feelings or anything with Lonnie. So she's still in the closet with them.
Oh, that's fair.
And Sam sometimes doesn't get Lonnie even. She's all anti-authority, but she's also in ROTC.
That's called being young.
Yeah. Sam wonders about the whole don't ask, don't tell stuff. Again, 90s. Sam.
Oh, it's so painful.
Right.
Oh, jeez. Like. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just me being like, oh man, that's not that now is much better.
Right.
Currently, but yeah, oh man, don't ask, don't tell. Remember when we defended that?
Yeah.
Oh, and by we mean society.
Yeah. Sam says Lonnie will join the army and then have to lie about who she is. Lonnie says they don't need to know what they don't need to know. Sam is puzzled. This is from the girl who trashed her own locker to defend her honor. Sam begins to think that even Lonnie doesn't get Lonnie sometimes, which, fair.
That's totally fair. Yeah. And I think the way it was presented with Don't Ask, Don't Tell was that it's a private matter and it should stay a private matter. Mm-hmm. The problem is with bigots is that their existence is validated by looking down and punching down at somebody. So, and bigots get in the army.
And thinking that they are a majority because people don't talk about stuff.
Right. Because everybody else is busy being polite and letting people live their lives.
Yeah.
So I'd have to look it up, but I know there was a case or two where somebody who was perfectly straight did end up getting bullied and beaten up, at least maybe even passing away, because some bigot decided to target them because I guess their haircut wasn't short enough. I don't even know. Stupid stuff.
Things go from bad to worse. After the principal told them to basically drop the harassment issue, they made their own little magazine about him, which they had been doing. They've been doing like their own little magazine about themselves, which also featured their own feminist views and all of that, and distributed it at school. Sam gets suspended, grounded, and her door must remain open after she gets her social privileges back, especially when Lonnie is over. Her parents do not really get it. Sam says she's known her feelings since She-Ra back in the day.
That's fair.
Yeah. But after the whole magazine and locker thing, her parents are completely clueless and hit her with some of the classics. You're too young to know what you want.
Yuck.
You and Lonnie are just good friends.
Lie.
You just haven't met the right boy.
Gross.
Ugh. It's a phase.
No.
Sam says she didn't see that one coming and is upset that they didn't even respect her enough to believe her about herself. Joke's on them, it's going to be a long phase.
Okay, I just want to say, ever since I was a little girl, I've hated asparagus. It has not changed in my entire life. Nobody has ever told me I will like asparagus again. If the same is true for who I'm attracted to, I'm sorry, it just feels, there's just certain things about people that are inherently true.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. And even if for some reason Sam is bisexual and will fall in love with a boy in the future, it doesn't make this situation any less queer. She's still a queer woman. But we're not even at that point. Honestly, she hasn't even said that she ever liked a boy. So she probably just...
Yeah.
I was about to say straight up lesbian, and that feels like a... That doesn't feel like the right phrase.
She meets up with Daniel again, eventually, to return his game, more or less. But
Yeah.
then Daniel gives her the story they wrote together when they were younger, and she starts crying because she pushed him away.
Aww.
She basically wasn't being a good friend to him at all. But then she also just unloads everything that's been happening with her parents and Lonnie and everything. He gives her a hug, says it'll be okay, and she almost believes him.
She wants to believe him.
Yeah.
She wants to believe him. Well, and as a friend, he wants to believe it too.
Yeah.
Because it's so much harder to be friends with somebody who's going through it like that. And they're teenagers. They have no control over a lot of the stuff that's happening.
Sam writes more of the Captain Allegra story during her forced time apart from Lonnie. I'm not going to read this one. There's less of a peek into Sam's mind. She's literally just putting Lonnie in the first mate's place. The first mate is a singer. The first mate is willing to sacrifice herself for the captain, just like Lonnie did with the locker. And then it becomes a nightmare scenario. The first mate screaming and then disappearing. Lonnie going off to join the army.
Okay, we've all had to write the fan fiction and get it out of our systems.
Right.
I completely understand. And I'm not even saying that patronizingly.
Right. Janice and Terrence are going on an anniversary trip from June 3rd through June 7th, meaning Janice can't go to Rick's wedding. She also accepted her promotion. It sounds like that is... They're going to couples counseling and stuff too. Like, they're trying to get stuff working again.
It sounds like a classic case of Terrence got all up in his feelings and his empathy bag got broke, so he stopped paying attention to her, and Janice, being a human being, wanted attention and affection and started looking at it wherever it was coming from, and it happened to come from Rick being a nice guy.
Yeah.
Then it turns out Rick is genuinely just a nice guy, and Janice is sitting there with a fantasy.
Yeah. Also, to catch up, Terrence's books are actually selling with the new publisher. It's a limited run, but it's something, and he's pushing for another sequel maybe. He's literally petitioning them to make a third book, even though they're like, we don't do new content.
Yeah, we just republish weird stuff.
Yeah.
And even if he went with a new publisher, at least he could show that the sales are going on.
Yeah.
Also, do the convention circuit, Terrence. They will love you.
Sam gets the place to herself while her parents are gone, so of course she invites Lonnie over.
Yeah.
This is literally the final days before Lonnie is shipping out. Lonnie plans to make the most of the time and also suggests they defile Sam's parents' bed while they are gone. Sam says Lonnie is gross and never change.
There's always the kitchen table if the bed's too far. I'm just saying.
No, stop. Lonnie has her last show with the band. She dedicates her last song on stage to Sam, which hits Sam like a ton of bricks.
Oh my God, I'd be weeping.
Literally, she's outside, like, choking back sobs.
Yeah.
Lonnie tells her that she just wants to make Sam happy, which Sam responds that she doesn't think Lonnie can anymore.
Because Lonnie's going to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We finally get to June 5th, just a day and a half before Katie will be arriving at the start of the game. Sam's journal entry. Life moves on. We agree that our last night together would be our happiest ever, and we'd forget tomorrow was going to come at all. It worked for a while. We had a good time seeing Oscar off, the ghost.
Oh, okay.
Then ran up to the attic to look through our photos, to find one for Lonnie to take with her. And looking at them, I realized they were all in the past and there wouldn't be any more. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I cried, and then she helped me. And she said she knew it was hard, but life would move on. I said I didn't want my life to keep moving without her. And that's when she cried too. I was so exhausted I must have fallen asleep like that in her arms. In the morning, I woke up and I was finally alone.
Oh.
The next night, hours before Katie will be home.
Yeah.
So there is a thing, like, the parents are out on vacation and Katie calls being like, I finally got my ticket. I'll be there at such and such. Like, she's leaving voicemails.
Yeah.
So her parents are already not even home.
Yeah. And cell phones, guys, are not a thing.
Yeah,
so,
they're not.
Like, she called and
they
left
may have been, like, they were starting to become a thing in the mid-90s.
They're not
like,
making enough money to,
Yeah, no.
to do. So
It was not something that, like, a college student or a teenager would have.
So what probably happened was, like, 18 hours before this, Katie calls and she goes, hey guys, I just got the tickets, and she leaves a message on the answering machine, and
Yeah.
the only person who's there to listen to it is Sam.
Right. She does hear it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine, yeah.
But Sam falls asleep in the attic where she and Lonnie would always be.
Mm-hmm.
Then she hears the phone ringing downstairs and rushes to grab it. It's Lonnie on a payphone. She'd been on the bus to Basic and said she couldn't do it. She couldn't think of anything but Sam. And that she couldn't go through it all with the Army and being apart for all of that. So she got off the bus in Salem.
Oh.
And said, Sam, I want you to pack up everything you can, get in your car, and come find me, and let's just drive until we find somewhere for us. And Sam says, yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is... Oh, my God. Oh, man. Tale as old as time,
Yeah.
once again.
Sam leaves a note on the door for Katie that we found way back at the beginning of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we get one final diary entry. Katie, I'm so sorry that I can't be there to see you in person, that I can't tell you all this myself. But I hope as you read this journal and think back, that you'll understand why I had to do what I did, and that you won't be sad, and that you won't hate me, and you'll just know that I am where I need to be. I love you so much, Katie. I'll see you again someday. Love, Sam.
Oh, man, it's so sweet. It just reminds me of... There's a lot of this keeps on referencing stories. I knew of a woman who... when she was a teenager, and I want to say this was back in like the late 50s, early 60s. And that's a guess. Hopefully I'm not getting her age wrong, but she left home because she knew she was gay and she couldn't stay there. And
Right.
she ended up in like St. Louis in the queer scene, and she would be hanging out in gay bars as like a 15-year-old. And it's just so sad that we are still in a point in time where this story, even though it takes place in the 90s, and I think in 2014 we had the sense of this will become our past. But
history rhymes quite a bit.
I do think that the future will be better, and I do think there are certain attitudes that are burning out way too brightly and loudly because most people just don't care. But it just sucks that this story could still happen today. Like,
yeah, some things would change because of technology, but that'd be about it.
yeah. Like Katie would be texting.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, that's a very sweet story. Oh. Sam is definitely the protagonist. So.
Yeah. See? Like,
Yeah, I totally get it. So, is the game Katie trying to piece together what the hell happened?
she's trying to piece together where everyone is. And, you do find like a calendar and stuff with like anniversary trip and stuff. So like it's easy to piece together where the parents are, but like where's
Sam should be home.
Yeah, leaving a cryptic note on the door.
Yeah. and being left alone to be told that her feelings are invalid. I don't know. Even if you thought that her feelings for Lonnie were wrong, I don't know if I could leave her alone for a whole trip like that. You know what I mean?
As you put it, they're both a little self-absorbed in their own problems.
Yeah. Not the best parenting going on there. Not to say that they're horrible, but not the best parenting going on there.
Yeah. Humans will human, even fictional ones.
Well, that's a story. It's tender and it's sweet and it makes me want to cry.
And that's what we've been playing.
Oh, I hope I don't cry.
I don't think you'll cry in the first part.
Okay, that's good to know. Yay.
There's a lot I didn't really cover. There is so much other information, like bands they like, magazines that they have.
So it sounds like this first hour stream will be Nostalgia the Game.
I don't know if you'll reach all of that within the first hour. But
there'll probably be some nostalgia though.
Yeah.
Like even just the fact that there's an answering machine.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, I remember when caller ID was a novelty.
I do.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's getting worse.
Ooh. Well,
anyway.
But if you want to help us go down memory lane while we play Gone Home, we the title means so much more now. That's so sweet. We'll be playing this the Thursday after this airs to the public.
Yes.
And then alternate Thursdays, as we mentioned before, Forgotten City for now, but Mass Effect 3 soon.
Yep. And remember, patrons get double the votes in chat. And for stuff that we can kind of plan
telegraph
early
ahead,
and telegraph early, they get exclusive votes on the Patreon page. So.
Yes. Yeah. And we should have all the DLC too, because we got the Legendary Edition. Yay! First day DLC issues with Mass Effect 3. That was the one thing that bothered me. I was like, yes, I understand. I'm not paying for this extra character. I'm sorry.
Especially one so integral to the story.
I was just mad. I was like, just give him to us.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening.
Thanks so much for listening. We will catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.